Hi, you're watching CUTV. I'm joined here tonight with Michael Gove, former Secretary of State for Education, former Secretary of State for Justice, and one of the leading men behind Brexit. So, just before the tragedy of Manchester, the campaign was in full swing. We had actually started to see Jeremy Corbyn close the distance somewhat, going up in the polls by about 5%, and I think just recently I saw that his personal popularity had actually risen somewhat. Now that campaign is going to resume on a local level both today and nationally tomorrow. Do you think there's actually a chance that Conservatives should be worried about the result?
Well, I think in any general election there are going to be two potential candidates for Prime Minister, and in a two-horse race you've got to be alive to the proposition that the certainly less fancied runner could win. And we've seen in the course of the last couple of years, Jeremy Corbyn was a 200-to-1 outsider to become leader of the Labour Party. Donald Trump, most people thought, would never get the Republican nomination, let alone secure the presidency. So I think we have to take seriously the prospect that Jeremy Corbyn could become Prime Minister. And one of the things I've been seeking to persuade people in constituencies from Ipswich to Scotland to London is that the danger of having Jeremy Corbyn as Prime Minister is so great that voting Conservative, even if people assume that the result of the election is a foregone conclusion, which it isn't, voting Conservative is critical.
So if it is a good result for the Conservatives and Theresa May is re-elected, would you like to go back into the Cabinet?
Well, I'm always happy to serve, and it was a great thrill being a Minister. I won a wonderful opportunity to contribute to being part of a team making a difference. But I think that the chances are that I will be on the backbenches after the election, and I'm very happy being both the Member of Parliament for Surrey Heath and then also having the opportunity to stand up and to campaign for important causes in which I believe, whether that's improving the life chances and opportunities of disadvantaged children, or making the case for supporting robust liberal democratic forces globally.
Your work as Secretary of State for Justice was actually relatively well praised, certainly looking at trying to reform the criminal justice system and get more people to stop reoffending. Do you think that there is still a lot of work to do in that area?
I do. I'm hugely heartened by the work that Liz Truss and Sam Gyimah have been doing at the Ministry of Justice, because they're very clear that the purpose of prison is to rehabilitate and to ensure that individuals who, in many cases, have suffered themselves as a result of difficult circumstances in which they've grown up or poor choices they may have made, are given the chance to redeem themselves and to achieve more than they might ever have imagined. And it's critical that that work goes on, because the damage that criminality does to our society, to the families affected by it, is profound. And if we can ensure that individuals genuinely change their ways and no longer commit crime, it's not just the case that they themselves are redeemed, it's also the case that society is safer and more secure as a result.
So we're almost approaching the one-year anniversary of the Brexit vote. Going back a year, David Cameron was still Prime Minister, you were still in the Cabinet. Now fast forward, we're out of the EU, we have Theresa May, and obviously your attempt at going for the leadership failed. Hypothetically, if we could go back then, would you do it all again?
Yes, I think that it's a good thing that Britain is out of the European Union, or going to be out of the European Union. And it certainly seems to be the case, though I mustn't prejudge the result of the election, that almost all of those who voted to leave are pleased with the outcome, and a significant section of those who voted to remain are also, I think that the best way of putting it is, keen to ensure that we exit on the best possible terms. And so there seems to be a new consensus there. And I think it's one of the biggest political decisions of my lifetime, and I'm privileged to have played a part in it. I think that politics should ultimately be about seeking to change things for the better, and whether or not people think that the education system has changed for the better, or the justice system, or indeed Britain's relationship with Europe has changed for the better, it's undeniable that I had the opportunity to work with talented colleagues in each of those areas where we did bring about change, and I feel proud to have done so.
Final question, do you think we'll ever see a Gove premiership?
No. Unless my son, at some future date, manages to reach this end, no. I think we'll have Theresa May as our Prime Minister. I certainly hope so, for many years to come.
Thank you very much. That was Michael Gove, and I'd like to thank the host this evening, the Cambridge Middle East and North African Forum, for providing Mr. Gove to be able to speak with us. Thank you very much to CUTV.